Hi, I'm Ricardo from JC Excavations. I'll be going through the basic operations for our Caterpillar dump trucks. This is a CAT 730C2 EJECTOR dump truck. Start by checking underneath the dump truck, checking to see if there's any oil leaks from overnight, working your way around, checking tyres, checking suspension, remembering what's on both sides, the height of the suspension, wheel nuts. Our stairs nice and clean, working our way to the articulation joint. Just remember on the articulation joint, there's a bank of grease nipples here. You're following around, grease nipple down there, turning cylinders, grease nipple bank there. And then again on your injector door, we've got these bank of grease nipples here, your ejector rollers right there. With an ejector dump truck, they're a little bit different in the body. So you're looking up, making sure those rollers are nice and greased, checking them on your way through. Looking at the tyres, same thing again, tyre pressures, wheel nuts, your rubber bushes, looking around, making sure there's no massive cuts on these tyres, checking around, moving around to the back. Ejector dump trucks have a factory fitted tailgate. They run on a hydraulic cylinder underneath on both sides of the body. Stick your head in there, make sure you check those cylinders for leaks, damages, or any bolts that are undone or loose. Make sure you're looking thoroughly around the back of these ejector bodies so you know where you're greasing. There's grease nipples on these hinges. There's grease nipples on the edge of these hinges as well. Following through, checking the inside of these tyres, the elephant's feet as well, as big rubber blocks there. Our way around the right-hand side of the truck, checking tyres, wheel nuts, same as the other side, tyre pressures, cuts, anything major, rubber bushes, looking around, eyeballing the top ejector body to the articulation joint. Same thing again. You've got a couple of grease nipples, not as many as the other side, but you've got a couple here. Checking your walkway, making sure that's nice and clean and accessible. Looking at the front tyre, checking tyre pressures again. Like I said before, your suspension strut, make sure you know it's both on the same side, both the same height. And knowing your e-stops. Know where they are. There should be one inside the cab, one on the other side of the truck. This is the ejector dump truck body. The way it works is the cylinder right here, horizontal cylinder, activates and pushes that door and it rolls to the back of the truck. So that's why it's important to make sure these rollers are greased properly. You've got this grease nipple here for the inside wheel and this is right here on the outside wheel. Diesel tank refills right here. Make sure the cap is on nice and tight and secure. Don't lose that cap. Check that cap, make sure it's back in place if a refueling truck comes past and refuels it. Working around the front, also again, just double checking underneath, checking the front for any damages, make sure your lights are working. This is your isolator door. It's on the front left-hand side of the truck. We'll open it up, turn the isolation on, and do our other checks. So you're ready to do your underneath the bonnet engine checks. So your bonnet lift is right here on the C2 dump trucks, regardless if it's ejector or tipper. Pressing and holding until it goes up. Checking your radiator header tank. Your coolant levels there, nice and clear, you can see on this one, but sometimes they are a bit dirty and not visible. Undo the cap and just use your torch and just check through the top there, you can see your level. Checking our engine oil with the yellow dipstick underneath the airbox. Pulling out, giving it a wipe, and then double checking your level, making sure it's full for your safe start. Checking your transmission oil now. This is a long dipstick, so we're going to be pulling it out and checking while it's cold for a safe start. This is an AdBlue truck. Your AdBlue is here. You do have an access door panel, but ideally, lifting up the bonnet while you're doing your pre-start checks can easily access the AdBlue tank. Open up the lid, refill it with clean AdBlue. Checking our filters, making sure there's no leaks. Most importantly, the water separator. Using a phone torch, I can see it's nice and crystal clear behind it. We're going to be lowering the bonnet right now, pressing and holding the same button until it stops. Operator's manuals are sometimes behind the seat. Have a look at it, read through it, and understand it. Risk assessments are behind the seat. Read through it, understand your hazards, and sign on the back page. Once you're up in the cab, turn the reds on. Adjust your steering wheel to your telescopic length, your drivability, so you're comfortable. You're checking through your gauges, making sure all your gauges are working, full of fuel. Adjusting the seat down the bottom here, pumping it up, taking the pressure off, so it makes it easier for the seat to go up and down. Depressurizing it, making sure it's not over pumped. We don't want to blow the pump of the seat. This is the 730C2 ejector screen. All the information on the truck that you need to use is on the front screen. Scroll through it, have a look at all your temperatures, leave it on the screen that you need to look at the alerts. Also, you can press the information button, go into service, check for diagnostics for the mechanics if they need to know any information on there. You're not going to hurt the screen, you're only getting information. Correct startup for these dump trucks. You have the bin in bin hold right in the middle with the two lines. Park brake is on. Do not touch the park brake. It should be always on. And your gear stick lever is in neutral. Ready to start. At the moment, I've got a one click forward, which is bin float, ready to tip off. We're going to be pulling it back twice and holding it while it rolls back. So we start pushing out the ejector door and it'll start rolling backwards. Keeping an eye on your mirrors, watching the door roll backwards. Once you hear the hydraulics release, then your door has tipped off. You start driving forward. Once you've finished tipping, you bring it forward, click forward once, let go, don't have to hold it, and the door will come back automatically. Using your UHF radio, make sure you're on the right channel, you've got the right volume setting, and you're crystal clear on the radio and your comms. This yellow button on the joystick is gear shift hold. That will illuminate the light on the dash. At the moment it's held first gear because I'm in first gear. If I press that button while I was in second gear, that will hold second gear as my highest gear. It would always go down to the lower gears, but 2 if I held second gear. That is ideally for your downhill descents or utilising your revs, maxing out your revs in that second gear to get your momentum for going up those steep hills with a load. Don't forget your retarder, utilising that down the hills and the different strengths that are on there. This is a battery isolation switch, so ready to turn it off. Just remember the light has to turn off before you can turn the isolator off. That's the light there, so you wait for the light to go out, which it is, then you can turn it off.